possibly go wrong with Zoom tonight. I just hand over to VK5TOM, whom you can blame if it doesn't work.
Am I the operator now?
I think you are.
All right.
Yes.
That's fine.
And, now we might end up.
We've got to populate everything.
I think so. We've got to start around. You can invite a few people in. It's actually working.
Oh, how's that?
It's crazy, isn't it? I'm using the computer audio.
Epoch, yeah, or something.
Yeah, and the mic, you can select the camera.
Camera is on the phone.
No. Oh, the mic.
Trying to cause people to join. There you go.
I'm going to start my video on here, but I'm not going to have the audio. Right, so with a bit of luck, we've got a monitor here, so Adam, you can see yourself on here. With a bit of luck. And I've got a photo of all you lovely people coming up. Tom, have you got it?
Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go. So if you speak through yours,
Yeah, I'll speak through mine.
is
See
that
if
working?
you can hear it. Yeah.
I don't know. No, your microphone isn't working.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess we've got computer audio.
Computer audio.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. Yeah, green. Beautiful.
We're live to air.
We're live to it.
We're live to air.
That's always good. What else could possibly go wrong? I got my mic supposedly working, but you can change the mic to echo on if you can. Can you hear anybody else that's on mine? Mine, can you just go on? Anybody else here?
Fully for a while.
Gentlemen, we're going to need absolute silence. Sorry, guys. Can we catch you later on that one? All right, so Thomas, have we got people talking to us online?
Yeah, in theory everybody's here.
Are they talking to us?
No, everybody's got their mics muted.
All right, we'll get a couple to say good day.
Say hello for us. There we go, you can see me. Hello camera, there we go.
Yeah. And who can we see on?
We've got, hang on, I haven't done the sound properly. The sound's coming through the computer and not through the thing. How do you get that set up?
That should work.
Good evening, Commander.
There we go. That's working.
All right, that's good.
We're all
You can tell Arno I'm on an iPhone. Arno, I hope you're proud of me.
He's on an iPhone.
Well,
There we go.
that's good. So you're up, Adam. I'll be a revolting reporter, and
We've got David up on the big screen.
it's blurry. Gentlemen, say hello to all our visitors. Okay, you're up there and see if we can be heard. Just check that we can hear out and he gets going.
Alright. I must have checked it. Alright. Can, I was going to say. So you can hear it all should be okay. Oh, there's Tom.
Oh.
Hello. Hello.
Can everybody see it up here okay with
Yeah.
the screen? Don't need the light on.
Yeah, like.
Turn one light off maybe, because I'm not getting a very good picture. If I can improve the picture for...
Oh, I've got the screen share.
Oh, have you?
Is that what the plan is? It?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can do that.
Yeah, no, screen, yeah, share the screen. But you've got a picture of Adam as well?
Yeah, should be. It should be both.
All right, okay, oh, that's great. Okay, terrific. All right. Way you go, Adam.
Just for people that haven't seen me before, Adam Gardner, I only just moved here at the start of last year. VK5 GA and also VK2 YK. Originally from Victoria, from Melbourne. Joined in the Air Force a while ago, and I've travelled up to New South Wales, Perth, and to here as well in my postings. So I've been around the place a little bit. So I've been able to try different things. And one of the things I've done over the years is played with the satellites. So what I'll do is I'll just do a nice little easy guide. I suppose to sort of a little bit of a taster into satellites. So that's why I've got more of a starter guide, so to make it easy for everybody. And it's pretty simple.
Can everybody hear it on Zoom? How's the volume?
Is the volume good? On Zoom? Any complaints?
Yeah, it's a fair bit of echo there due to the remote microphone.
Yeah, everyone watching needs to mute.
Yeah, fair enough. If you wouldn't mind muting everyone watching, that'll be good. But we'll yell out for comments occasionally. All right. Sorry about that. I mean, my microphone's not working on here, I don't think, is it?
You're running Zoom on that one?
No, I'm just running my app.
Oh, yeah.
And the microphone's not working.
I don't think it's working. Yes, it's how's that? Talk into that.
Oh, okay.
Is that working?
I don't know.
Audio? All audio? No. Oh, mute that one.
Yeah, this one.
Mute that one.
I thought I did. I thought I did. Because otherwise there'd be feedback going to Tracy. But more important is the presentation getting on the Zoom.
Yeah, the presentation getting on the Zoom.
Oh, that's good. Very good. I might get up a bit closer to this on the side because it's Adam's that way, hopefully, isn't it?
I'll have to. That might work. It'll work. So what I'll do, I'll go through history, satellite types, what do I need to get on, at least to start with. Talk about some of the active FM satellites, some of the awards that you can get for different things. There's all sorts of different satellite groups out there that have different awards that you can apply for different things. So, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, we might get a live demo as well to go with it. So that's all.
I want you guys to keep it honest.
Just a bit of a run over with it. OSCA, what it stands for, LEO, which is low Earth orbit. AOS, there are some other terminology that they do use, but AOS is usually a common one that is used, which is acquisition of signal. So when it comes over the horizon, and then loss of signal as well, which is LOS. So you'll see a lot of that in past predictions.
Yeah, sorry, what was that?
Not getting the audio at all, we're getting a computer voice saying file vision.
Oh,
Yeah, it's called the same trial vision.
oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I forgot to set it back. Sorry.
No.
Okay.
David, mute your microphone.
Teething
I'll use
issues.
it now.
Okay.
There we
I should
go.
be muted.
There we go. That should work now.
And then also Doppler shift, so the change in frequency due to the speed of the satellite. So as it's changing, as it comes over the horizon, and then as it moves through the sky, there is a small shift in frequency depending on high or low frequency that you're using for the band. So, short history, OSCA 1, launched in 1961. So you can see it's been started not long after the first Russian one was up, which was 1957. So for amateurs, it was early on in the piece that we got into it and got an actual satellite up in the sky there. So it started pretty quickly there with it. A lot of that was because they piggybacked onto the American actual rockets there. So they're able to piggyback on there for whatever reason for research and the like. OSCA 7, which is a notable one, 1974, and it's semi-operational. It actually went through a stage of where it died, and then it actually changed and actually came back operational. So it's using the actual solar panels on the outside to power it, and that is it. So it's actually up and running. So that's the oldest satellite that's actually up and going for amateurs there. It does work very well there, so it's a really good satellite. And it's got a good footprint as well. OSCA 10, that was sort of when it started going a little bit higher. So high Earth orbit. They called it Phase 3B. It was in 1983. There was a combination. There was OSCA 10 and OSCA 13 as well. They were very similar satellites there. So they were nice big ones, had a very large footprint and did a lot of work there. A lot of people used them back then. That was probably the start of when I sort of saw a lot of satellite stuff, and it really interested me how it was all going with it all. Another one, OSCA 16. This was the first of the FM transponders, and also had a packet BBS, which was something pretty big back there, because what it could do was store and forward. So what it was basically the start of the internet, so you could actually send information across it to other people, other amateurs across the world. So you could actually send the information up, it would store it, and then someone else could then grab that information down in another location. So you can see that was back in 1990, so that was, you know, they were doing it back then with a lot of that sort of thing. So packet radio was a big thing for it there before the internet really took off. OSCA 27 was another good one. This one was a first FM, and that was in 93. So you can see, as the years go on, the technology is just changing massively there with it. And nice and small satellites, they weren't big ones either. And Oscar 27 has actually just come back up on air. They found that it's actually working again. So hopefully tonight, that is the one that we might be able to hear and use tonight. So I'm hoping, I haven't had a chance to play with it myself, but I've been told that it could be up and running. It just depends on how it's going at the moment, because it's sort of in and out a little bit. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. Oscar 35 was a good one as well. I actually used this one a good amount back in around about 2000, 2001, around that time frame. And you could actually use it from your vehicle. You could use a vehicle radio, a dual band radio in your vehicle, and drive around, and you could actually talk to people through the satellite. It was absolutely amazing. There was people that were on trains and things like that, and using a handheld and talking to people over Australia. It was phenomenal. It died, but it was actually done by the Saudi guys. Actually built that satellite. So it was the first one out of the US, outside the US, that was actually made. It was made by the Saudis, which has sort of, get a little bit further on into the next ones. Oscar 40 was another big one. It didn't have much of a life, but it was a really good satellite as well. It had a massive footprint. It was virtually almost stationary, but it covered a massive part of the world. It just would move slightly across back and forth, and you could make big contacts from Australia over into Europe and places like that, or into the States. So it was really good, and then it had issues and died as well. So SO50, this is probably it was the longest FM one still hanging around that's operational. It hasn't gone off air at all, this one, since it was launched. So it's been a pretty stable satellite, this one, for an FM one, which is pretty good. It's I was very surprised, and it's not too bad at coverage as well. Then you've got Oscar 100. So this is present day. Same thing, this is done by the Qataris. So it's done by another Middle East country. But what they did is they've centred it over their area. So this is a proper geostationary one. So it only has, as it's got on the screen there, you can sort of see Africa and where it actually goes. So so you've got India in here off to the side, and just into the side of Indonesia. Also, I've been told that it does, there is slight coverage in, I think it's Cocos as well. I think it's Cocos or Christmas Island. There is coverage out to there. So there is talk about maybe going for an expedition out that way and using the satellite out there. So it's something, and you can do it all with just a TV satellite dish antenna. You just put a different feed onto it and off you go. So it's pretty good and easy to get into. So that also with that satellite, it does do TV as well. It can do TV. So it's got a lot of stuff that it can do. All right, so the orbits, I've sort of spoken about most of those, but the low orbiting ones, you've got about 90 minutes orbit time. So you've got, just like similar to the International Space Station, it goes around the Earth roughly about every 90 minutes. So what they have, it's in an elliptical orbit, so it's like it's tilted, so it doesn't go, you're varying times of when it comes over, whereas a polar orbit will actually, you get on a regular basis and regular time slots. So The high orbiting ones, it's very similar to the GEO, but you will get it moving around, so you will get a change in footprint that you can work people, but it moves a lot slower. So you can sort of have antennas that are sort of roughly pointed in the area for it and be able to use it there. We don't really have any of those around anymore at the moment. So we've only really got low orbiting and then the geostationary, which is Oscar 100 at the moment within our area. So we've got nothing in between to use. And as on the screen, I've also put sort of like a rough, you can sort of see the differences there, where they're actually, how close they are to the Earth there when it's actually going around. So, and what the actual distances are. So we've got 200 to 2,000 kilometres for your low orbiting. So that sort of gives you an idea of, as you get a little bit further out, the footprint or the area where you can actually get to the satellite, you can be a lot larger and get further distances. So, next one. All right. Satellite types. I mainly talked about the FM ones already. Basically, it's a crossband repeater. That's the best way to explain it. So, you'll see some of the dual band radios that are out there. They have the ability to do crossband repeat. So you can transmit on 2 metres and it goes across to a 70 centimetre frequency. Or you can do the opposite way around, go in on 70 centimetres and come out on the 2 metres. That's what the transponder does. So it's not like a normal repeater where it's going to be in the same band, it's actually 2 different bands. So you can actually have 2 metres and 23 centimetres or even 13 centimetres. There's all different types of combinations that they can use. Also, they do use HF as well. Oscar 7 has a 2 metre and 10 metre. So it's actually really good. And then it has also a 2 metre and 7 centimetre transponder. So, and it'll actually just cross between the two. The linear transponders for your CW and SSB side. And it's basically a chunk of spectrum that the actual satellite uses that can be used. So you can have multiple users on the satellite at the one time. So you don't have to, whereas an FM one, it's like an FM repeater, one person talking at a time, and that's it. Whereas your linear one, you can actually have multiple ones going at the same time. So someone could be having a CW contact with someone else, and someone else could be using SSB. They're talking as well at the same time. But what happens is it does share output power at that time. So it will share between if there's 2 signals happening at the same time. So that's sort of not a downside, but it's just the way that the actual engineering behind all that has been done. So you've got the ability to be able to have multiple conversations or multiple contacts going at the same time. There is different ones there as well. You've got inverting and non-inverting. It just means the difference between when you're transmitting up, transmit up, upper side band, will come out lower side band if it's inverting. If it's non-inverting, it'll be upper side band up, upper side band down. So it just depends on how they've made the actual satellite when it's all being put together. All right, the nuts and bolts of it all. Yeah, everybody's favourite radio in there, the Bayo fan. Everybody's favourite one. Cheap, easy, great. Not too bad. A little bit, can be a bit funny sometimes in high RF environments, but I've used some, There's a Cooksing and I think an Ocean one as well, and I've used that on satellites all the time and haven't had any issues at all. So they've been really good. So I thought nice and easy, so if you did happen to drop one, if you're at portable, go and buy another one. Nice and simple. So I suppose the one in the middle, the Kenwood, I suppose that's a full duplex. So that's why I've got it there, dual band FM handheld, too preferable for full duplex, because most of the manufacturers now are not doing full duplex handhelds. I think there's only one out there, and I think it is the other Kenwood. I think it's D74. I think it does do full duplex there with it, but I don't think there's any others out there that do it. But some of the old ones, yeah, this older Kenwood one, the 72, works great. Even some of the other older ones as well. If you get some of the older ones, if you really want to go down the full duplex path and just have one radio. But like I said, you can get 2 radios for probably more than 2 radios for the price of the Kenwood there, depending. So for what you use it for. Antenna-wise, you can use a rubber ducky whip, but I wouldn't use the standard one that comes with a handheld. I've got a dual band one that's on this. That's probably about the best one that you'll use, except for I think there's like the 2 metre 5/8 one. You can get one like that, and that'll work as well. But from the standpoint, you can do it. You just got to know how to position yourself and position the radio to be able to hear the signal with it. Because a lot of these FM transponders are only putting out maybe half a watt there. Some of them are only around about maybe 200 milliwatts, around about that sort of stage. So, but remember, it's line of sight, so as long as you're in the open, you're in a spot there, you'll probably hear it. But as you get higher in frequency, you're going to get more absorption through the atmosphere with a lot of that sort of stuff as well with the 70 centimetres. So having a beam around about probably 3 to 5 elements on 70 centimetres does overcome it pretty well, and it's pretty decent. You will hear it, no issues at all. You'll hear maybe a little bit of frying pan in the background, like you might hear on a repeater, but for the most part, you'll be able to make contact. You'll hear it, no issues at all. No preamps, no preamplifiers or anything like that. You will hear them, so it's pretty good. From the photo here, I've built 2 of the 3 antennas there. The bottom one here in the bottom right-hand corner, I've got something very similar in the corner here that I built up just out of aluminium welding rod from Bunnings, and just put it together. And plastic pipe as well, the electrical conduit, is put it together. So you can do it pretty cheap and easy to get it there. Same as the other one here above. Nice and easy, simple one as well. The only thing with that is it's like the arrow antenna. It's 2 separate antennas, so you've got to have a duplex if you're going to run it into one radio. But if you run full duplex, you can just have one cable going to one, that is your receive antenna, and the other one for your transmit. So making it nice and easy that way. So in the bottom left-hand corner, this one here is what they call an IO antenna, which is basically a quad with a reflector underneath it. It's just a loop, a quad loop with them, and just putting a reflector behind it to give it a little bit more gain in that one direction. So nice and simple as well. Very simple design, lightweight, easy. In that situation there, what's been done, they've actually put a preamplifier onto it and also a duplexer as well to give a filtering there for it. So that can be done pretty easily. Next one. Yep. All right. The next part. This can be done through your mobile phone, Android, your iOS. It doesn't matter. You can have a tablet, computer. There's multiple different programs out there, and most of them are all free. So you can get them, no issue at all. So you can look. So you've got online ones through here. It's got AMSAT North America. That's a good site. The only thing with that, it does, when it gives you the past predictions, it's all in UTC time. So you just got to work it out in your head how you're going to change all the timings there and the dates to make sure that you're doing it on the right day at the right time. So, same with, I found also this one, N2YO. There's also the same sort of thing, but it does give it, you can take the option of actually putting local time in. So it'll actually give you local time for the passes. And those online ones, you can actually go to a view and you can see where the satellite is. It will show you where the satellite is compared to your location. So you can put your grid square in, and it gives you, so it sets your location of where you're going from, and then you can then do your past predictions from there. So it's pretty good, and then you can just print them out or whatever you want to do. Computer, if you're using the computer, there's Windows-based ones, there's Linux ones, there's Apple ones or Mac there as well. Good one is SAP PC32. It's written by a German guy. Very good. Does all your interfacing with your radios at home. So if you had a home setup, you can interface it so it does all the Doppler shift for you, does everything for you. You can even set it up for rotators and the like. It's got bucket loads of stuff in it there. Another good one, but that's, you can get it, you can use it free, but you've got to redo your actual location there every time you restart it there. If you pay for it, it's not a very expensive program anyway. Once you pay for it once, that's it, and you get free updates after that. One I use on my phone is AMSAT Droid, which is a free one. Great, works awesome. Picture of that, or one page of it, is down here in the bottom right hand corner of what you get. Has all the information to do with the satellite when it's coming and going and the like, and gives you a nice plot of where it's coming from and going to. So it'll have AOS and LOS there on there, so you'll see where it's actually going there. So as long as you find where your north is, put your phone on the ground if you really want to, or at least then get your bearings so you know exactly where the satellite's coming up and going down. So the next one along, Orbitron, which is this one over here. That's another free one. It works really well as too. I've had no issues with that. Only on Windows, but is a really good program, simple, easy to use. Can be linked in with radios and controllers as well for your antenna, so you can set it up that way as well. It all can be set up. A little bit more clunky than SAP PC32, but it can be done. GPROTIF is another good one, another good program. That's across all of them. It's Windows, Linux, and iOS. So all of them. It's similar to SAP PC32. Can do all the different things it's come a long way. It's been around for a little while now, so it's come along pretty well. I haven't used it for a while, but when I played with it, it was pretty good. Mac Doppler, pretty well the same. Sat Watch, I had a look at that one today, and I've got a picture here. That's sort of a picture that you would get on your screen, on the actual phone. Also works on the tablets and the computers and all that as well. So it works across all the different ones. Satellite Tracker, same thing, is an iOS one as well, through the App Store for Apple. Works really, looks like it's very similar to the Sat Watch as well. So if there's any Apple users out there trying to cover everybody, they're with it. Also, there's on Celeste Track, on this website, there's another good one as well. There's a good list of all sorts of different programs. So I've only taken a snippet. There's a heap more out there that can be used depending on what your flavour of the day is. So, at the end of with this presentation, all these got links in them. I've got a PDF there that I'll supply through the group IO there. I'll put it in there, so if anybody wants to go back and have a look at the presentation, they can do it as well. So they're all got links in it to make it easier. Next one. All right, so I've sort of gone along a little bit with some of the other stuff. You can do the simple way, which is on the side here. The one radio. He's got his phone on the other side there. He's got his arrow antenna. He's got down the bottom, probably a camera stand that he's retrofitted with everything there with it in the backyard to use it. So nice little portable setup, simple and easy to get going. You can do that with a homemade one if you really wanted to, or you can buy a commercial one. It's up to you. Commercial ones here in Australia are a lot harder to get now, with getting them into the country and the cost of them. They're pretty expensive because not many people sort of go down that track. So building them yourself it's not that hard. Or you can go for the full station and go the full tilt and have everything and press a button and antennas move, like down here in the right hand corner. Elevation, azimuth rotator, press a button, off it goes, and you sit back and enjoy the ride. So you can do the nice simple way, or you can go the full way. It depends on, I suppose, your situation. For me, I've had more fun doing the portable stuff because I've been all over Australia and I've used it and spoken to people while I've been out in the middle of the desert in the Northern Territory. Been out Kings Canyon, at the top of Kings Canyon, and using it there. I've been out on the Tanimon track to catch up with a friend out there, out of the Aboriginal community out there. Using it out there as well. So, gone all sorts of different places all over Australia and just using a nice portable setup and works. Right, next one. So, with that, some of the active FM satellites. We've got SO50, AO27, AO91, Lilac Sat. It's a bit funny at the moment, depends on the stuff. PO101 is another FM one, and you've got the ISS crossband repeater there. You've got to look on the web to see when it's actually active, because it's not always active. So you've got to look on the web to see when it's active. With it. Same with, I think 91, it's been having a few issues as well at times, so you've got to sort of keep an eye on it on the web. There are pages there to see when it's been active, or if it has been active there. So they're the ones that we've got at the moment, either being semi-operational or fully operational. The really fully operational ones are really only SO50 and probably, I think PO 101 is, I think they've opened that right up now because it was on a limited basis there for a bit, and now I think they've fully opened it up. All right. Just from over the Christmas time, this is just some of the stuff that I've been able to get in awards for just receiving space scan pictures from the space station. These are some of the awards that you can apply for. You can get other ones for grid squares, different grid squares if you after that, or different states. So working people in every state of Australia as well. You can get like a worked all Australia one for satellites as well. Look.
I forgot about that. I'll have to start it.
Yep.
How's it all here?
Almost got there. Almost got there.
We might turn that one off. You're okay with
Yeah.
yeah. I'll turn it off.
In the interval, can I apply for all?
I don't think because it was coming up a little bit, so at least it would be over the trees. The other ones were earlier, they were better times. Oh, you had 91, you had SO50. There's another one later.
There's my old mate.
When
I last left, he was getting through a bottle.
into 9, and he comes over.
He's been around mine. He brought me a cable.
Which one is it?
Must go around
Wild Excel.
Tremor, isn't he? Yeah, bloody great.
I got him on Discord. I can't get him off now. Because he's chatting with the Americans. He likes stirring them up. That's his new pastime.
The antenna has to be
He showed me his seat. He got me on IRC. He showed me IRC. But he reckons it's CIA. He's hit the oil for it.
What sort of thing do you hear when you're on track?
Well, some satellites audio level, so you'll actually hear it. If you've got the white noise there, you'll actually hear it die. Like it'll go down in noise, but
Obviously, if you hear people talking, you know you're on the right track.
Well, that's exactly it, and that's why I sort of like trying to have a go, and at least like I got it in.
What language?
Well, these ones are only a low Earth orbit, so only only Australia sort of area. So I'd be looking for guys with this one with the pass over to the west. That would be looking for guys from Northern Territory and WA and other people from say South Australia or even Western Victoria, Western New South Wales.
And what's the furthest you've got? I suppose you were saying when you're out bush, you're able to chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. The pass is almost done. The first one I've got was when I was in WA, and that was into West Java.
You're one bar off.
And that was on an FM satellite, using an FM satellite. So,
I did hear the story of the boys are out in the bush with two flat tyres and they managed to get us, I don't know how they knew its track, but they managed to get us a town.
yeah. Another satellite that I used, but it's no good anymore. It died. I did one from, I contacted from, I was in Perth, and a guy in New Zealand.
Good. What about the
No, they're a similar principle, but they're low orbiting type ones as well. So depending on the timings, you can't always get a good telephone call. So similar sort of origin.
If you've got a satellite hovering, it's easy.
Yeah, but then you've got to have a bigger antenna to be able to get to it. So you've got to have a bigger antenna, a bit more power to be able to get to it. Because you've got that absorption, you've got that loss when it goes out, when it's going out to the satellite.
Awesome. Great night.
But a bit of a pity.
Oh, that works. It's very hard, isn't it?
Oh, look, best laid plans. Does it?
A bit like Zoom, isn't it?
Oh, look, this. I've got to.
We're improving.
But the thing is, you could always talk through it and not get there. Someone mightn't even come back to that.